Hi, I'm Oliver Phommavanh, children's author of many books, including this brand new book here, Brain Freeze. And I'm here today on behalf of CBCA and Scooby's Story Scoop. Today, I'll be talking to you about the pandemic. Okay, no, don't turn off there. I'm being serious here, if only for just a couple of seconds. People have always asked me about writing comedy and how to get my funny ideas from, and I always get my funny ideas from my life and what I see and what I do, and I always encourage kids and readers to write about their life, write about their family, their friends, what they're doing, and yes, that includes writing about what life was like during this year in the pandemic and during lockdown. Now, I was very lucky that I was editing this book, Brain Freeze, during the initial lockdown, and it got me thinking about my characters and thinking about how my characters would cope during the lockdown, during isolation, during remote learning, and just, with the pandemic and what's been going on. So I got to include 2 short stories about my characters in the pandemic. This included Terrific here, where Terrific became a delivery-only restaurant and Lengy and his parents had to deal with that. I also got to write about V in Don't Follow V, who's, doing remote learning, via Zoom with her mum, who's also working from home, and, things get a little bit more hectic, so I won't spoil it for you there, but yeah. So you can write about all those things. Write about, like toilet paper hoarding, panic buying, Zoom and being zoomed out maybe, or being, trapped in your house and thinking about what you could do, not having Wi-Fi, that would be kind of scary, or being forced to just exercise for just 1 hour a day. All those kind of things you can write about in your stories, because in 10 years time, in 20 years time, people will want to know what life was like during 2020's pandemic and lockdown. So I'm going to read a very small part of Brain Freeze. It's part of the short story Super Essential Terrific, and I want you to think about what kind of things have I put into this small part that have been unique to 2020. Ever since this pandemic started, so many parents have had to get used to their work from home lives. Not mine. You see, my parents have been working from home all their lives, running Terrific restaurant from downstairs, and they've never been busier. Tonight, in the empty restaurant, Kitsai and I are just waiting for Mum and Dad to start the dinner rush. At least we're out of the house, Kitsai says. This is our house, we're just downstairs, I say. Kitsai grins. No, we just had school upstairs at Living Room Public School. Haha! Boys! Dad hollers from the kitchen. We need you at the packing stations. We both go down to the counter where Dad's already in his apron, chef's hat, mask, and gloves. It's Thursday night. It's buy 1 curry, get 1 free. So we're expecting a whole lot of orders. No worries, Dad, I say. This is way easier than serving customers in person. Yeah, all we gotta do is just put the containers into bags for the turtles on wheels, Kitsai says. Dad raises an eyebrow. Turtles? Yeah, the people with the giant square packs on their backs, Kitsai says. He picks up an empty box and holds it behind his back. Oh, you mean those thermal boxes, I say. Yeah, all the delivery people use them. Yes, we don't want food going cold, Dad says grimly. Ever since lockdown, Terrific has been a smash hit with all the food delivery places around Fairfield. Mum steps out of the storeroom. Have you both finished your homework? Of course, I say. Everything we do is homework. Kitsai giggles. Oh yeah. Now, I want to make sure you finish your studies first before you can help out, Mum says. Now, I am tempted to use an English assignment as a get out of Terrific pass, but I count the line on Mum's forehead. I should help out. Besides, this counts as an off-screen activity, which means I can play some games later on. Woohoo! Dad pats my shoulder. Thank you, boys. Terrific is more essential than ever in these times. Yeah, we are super essential, Kichai says. Is that a bird? Is that a plane? No, it's terrific. Delivering curries in a hurry. Yay! So as you can see there, I've basically have loaded these stories with as many jokes as I can about 2020. And you know what? I think you should as well. So in the summer holidays, or when you got some spare time, I want you to write down a couple of things about 2020 and how you felt. And I want you to think about it, how you can make something funny. Now, honestly, for me, the way things become funny is if you add, parents who are embarrassing, or if you look at something and you just twist it slightly around, you could actually make it funny as well. And trust me, even serious things like the pandemic, like isolation, like lockdown, can be funny as well. And the best thing is the readers can relate to it because they too have also been during the same sort of lockdown and pandemic that you guys have been as well. So they'll get it and they can laugh about it as well. And let me tell you guys, after all this is over, we can have a big hearty laugh about this whole thing. Well, that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. On behalf of Story Scoop, I'd like to say thank you so much for having me on. And I will catch you guys maybe one day in real life somewhere. Bye!
Welcome to Story Scoop. My name's Serena Geddes. I'm an international children's book illustrator and more recently author to 2 picture books, Rosie and Rasmus and Where the Dragons Live, published by Simon & Schuster in the US and distributed in Australia by Simon & Schuster. I'm also the illustrator of over 50 titles with some amazing authors. Some of them you may know. My favourites are the Lulubelle series, Misty In series, Run Pip Run, Totally Twins, Gracie and Josh, and Hijabi Girl, which has just been made into a musical puppet show by Larrikin Puppetry, which I am so excited about. Today I'll be sharing the inspiration behind my newest picture book, Where the Dragons Live. I'll talk through some of my processes as an illustrator, but also as a visual storyteller. And the biggest thing for me during Where the Dragons Live was some of the obstacles I had to overcome, my own internal obstacles about my connection with Rasmus and how that really reflected some of my experiences as a child going through primary school. These had to be overcome for my story to flourish. I hope you enjoy this little sneak peek at today's little video on Story Scoop. Rasmus is about to embark on his own adventure. He's leaving Rosie, he's got some new wings, and he's on his way to the island where the dragons live. I started to rough up the story, but something was blocking me. There was something around Rasmus that I wasn't connecting with, and I had to look at why it wasn't working between us. A dear friend actually asked me, what did the island represent to me? And on reflection, I realized very quickly that the island represented my primary school. And Rasmus, well, I guess you can figure out who Rasmus really is in the story. Once I realized that I was just a little Rasmus, everything changed. Rasmus and I had a long talk, and he told me how all of this made him feel. I began to draw. The pictures flowed onto the paper with ease. I had overlooked my adorable, lovable green dragon, who really didn't need to change who he was to fit in. Instead, Rasmus just had to be his joyous, kite-flying, lovable self. True friendships are the ones who see you and love you for all that you are. And I felt sad that I missed the heart of his story, the heart of our story. We celebrated and we danced, our jelly bellies wobbling, and then I got to work. I hope you enjoyed today's video of my process as an illustrator, visual storyteller, and an author for my picture book, Where the Dragons Live. And there are notes and activities on my website and some teacher's notes, as well as some colouring in sheets. And before we leave, I want to say a big thank you to Story Scoop for the opportunity to be able to share my newest picture book. And I will end with a little video of me illustrating. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you once again.
Hello, my name is Sophie Masson. Welcome to Story Scoop. I'm really excited to be part of this wonderful project. Now, I'm the author of more than 70 books for children, young adults and adults. And I write for children. When I write for children, I write fiction, novels, chapter books, and a lot of picture books. And you can see some of them behind me here. And it's a picture book I want to talk to you about today, my brand new picture book, which is called Santagram, written by me, illustrated by Shiloh Gordon, and published by Little Hare. Now, I love writing picture books. They're so wonderful because not only do you get to write a fantastic story, but also, which is so much fun, but also you get to work with an illustrator, and that is fantastic. I just love collaborating with illustrators because they make your words come to life. Suddenly, they're not just words on a page, they're just wonderful illustrations with a whole lot of detail, a whole lot of wonderful visual worlds. And it's always so exciting when you first get the first lot of illustrations and you suddenly see, oh, they're your characters and they're alive there. It's almost like they're in a film. It's fantastic. Anyway, so how did Santagram start? Well, Santagram started really because of the very good memories I have of Christmas. My parents always gave us a really good Christmas with lots of fun things, and also because I looked forward to Santa coming, of course. I always tried to stay awake, but I never quite managed it. And so in the morning when I woke up, there were all these wonderful presents that Santa had brought, and I hadn't seen him, even though I had tried so hard. I just couldn't stay awake. But I also used to love writing before Christmas. I used to love writing letters to Santa and telling him about our lives and my brothers and sisters and the pet cats we had and about what our house was like. And one time I even drew a drawing to make sure that he knew where our house was on the street so he wouldn't miss it. And a couple of times we got letters back from Santa, and that was fantastic. And I especially remember one time when there was a letter under the tree, and it was a letter from Santa, and it was all glittery on the envelope, and when you opened it, it was written in gold ink. And Santa said, "Thank you very much for your letter. I really liked your letter. And of course I won't forget to come to your house." And as you can see, I have come to your house. And it was just so magical, and it was all glittery and gold and everything. And I thought, oh, that's amazing. And I wish I'd kept that letter, but of course it disappeared a long time ago. So now I started thinking one day, I wonder if Santa still gets as many letters as he did when I was a child. Because, of course, now there's not just letters, there's emails, there's texts, there's messages, and there's things like Instagram and Facebook and things like that. And so I wondered if Santa still got the letters. And that's how this story started. Now, when the story starts, the head elf is a bit cross because she thinks there is too much mail. So there's still lots of letters coming into the North Pole Post Office. And the book starts with these words. "Santa," said the head elf one day, "we have a problem." Now, Santa doesn't think there's a problem at all. He loves the letters. He loves to see what the children write to him. He loves their drawings. He loves to smell them. And he doesn't think there's a problem. But he knows the head elf knows what she's talking about. So he says, "Okay." And she says, "We're going to have an app. We're going to call it Santagram. And you're going to have a lot of fun, Santa, with it." And he thinks, not sure about that. But he agrees and then starts the fun. So then Santa not only gets letters from children because they send them to him on Santagram as photographs, but he has to answer them and he has to take selfies and he doesn't know how to use his phone properly. And so there's all sorts of funny things start to happen and the messages keep coming and coming and coming and coming. Now you'll have to find out what happens when Santa finally gets fed up of it. But it's a solution that suits everybody. And it's a lot of fun to find out. And I think you'll find out when you read the book. Now, it was wonderful writing the story. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And it was just so much fun creating the world of the elves and of Santa in my book. But imagine my excitement when the illustrator actually started creating the visual world. It was just so wonderful to see the marvelous detail that Shiloh gave to all the scenes in the book. And there's just so much in there, so much to look at. It's just fantastic. I just love it. I really, really love this book. And I really love the visual world Shiloh has created. And I'm so happy that the publisher found such a wonderful illustrator for my story. It's just a fantastic thing to do, to write a picture book, and this one is one that I really love because it's come right out of childhood love and actually also it's just been such a wonderful thing to think up a Santa for our times. I hope you've enjoyed this and I hope you enjoy the book. Thank you for listening to me.